Poland, Georgia and Moldova. Indeed, the only goals they've conceded in topping the section have been at Wembley. In terms of approach, Hoddle says England will have positive thoughts. We won't just play for the draw, he insists. And while the Italians obviously have to attack, they'll do so, I think, with a degree of wariness. Maldini's problem is in finding the right balance between caution and aggression. And hopefully we're not going to see too much aggression on the terraces there. A showdown to savour. The waiting is over. Italy against England for a place in the World Cup finals. This is Delivio. Delivio will be patrolling this right side for the Italians. And we are anticipating Vieri and Inzaghi then up front with Zola, such a potent threat behind them. Costa Curta and Cannavaro, who's on the ball now, are the two markers at the back. Or at least two of the three defenders. I expect Nesta to be a marker and Costa Curta to be the spare man. Christian Vieri, the man who had strayed then, preferred up front to Casiraghi. Casiraghi, who played and did so well against England at Wembley, just setting off there a fraction too soon as England's back three stepped up. The jump by Tony Adams, who was overlooked then for the captaincy in the absence of Shearer. This is David Batty. Glenn Hoddle deciding that Paul Ince was the man for the captain's armband tonight. Returning to the Italian scene where he has certainly gained respect from his time with Inter Milan. Adams hasn't been fully fit until recently. That's his clearance there. And Glenn Hoddle felt he had enough responsibility looking after his own game without having to worry about everybody else's. Nesta losing control. This is Batty, whose combative nature in the middle of the field is going to be so important. Clashing there with Nesta. 21-year-old who plays his club football with Lazio. And certainly Paul Gascoigne will know all about him. It was Nesta who was involved in the training ground accident that resulted in Gascoigne breaking his leg. No blame, I hasten to add, attached to Nesta. Bound to be a very tense affair. That's Albertini with the offence on Gascoigne, who is back to something like his best in the recent game against Moldova. But with all due respect to the Moldovans, Italy are a totally different kettle of fish. Gascoigne with a free kick. Laid off by Sheringham. This is Adams, who's in the centre of that back three. Campbell, forward by David Beckham, who had been a doubt because of a heavy cold all week. Vieri switching it forward. Inzaghi, who is very, very quick, but even he doesn't have that much pace. Now with Juventus, of course, he scored 7 times already this season. Inzaghi, who was Serie A's leading scorer last season while playing for Atalanta. It's his first start tonight for the Azzurri. Just 2 appearances before as a substitute. Fouled by Cannavaro, who clearly is being asked to pick up Ian Wright. Gascoigne. No one will be relishing this occasion more than Ian Wright. 33. Enjoying the best football of his career, really. Certainly at international level, where he's finally come of age. It's Gascoigne. Clever turn. Away from Dino Baccio. This is Sheringham. We'll be looking to probe from those deep positions. But away come the Italians now. Vieri in pursuit. Good covering by Tony Adams. Confident defending by the Arsenal man. Vieri. Campbell outmanoeuvring Inzaghi. Very important that England retain their composure and keep their shape in the early phase of the game. when they are bound to come under some pressure. Maldini, good ball it too, dealt with over by Adams, who was first to respond. Maldini, Italy's captain. That was Nesta. Now Delivio, such a hard-working player for club and country. Another the Juve contingent, of course. Dino Baggio, who used to play for Juventus, now with Parma. Mistimed connection there by Gascoigne. Zola with the free kick. And England can ill afford to give away too many of these anywhere near the penalty box. Nesta. He's the man who's come in then for Ferrara, who's failed to recover in time from an injury he sustained playing for Juventus last weekend against Fiorentina. David Beckham, quickly closed down by Maldini. Here's Inzaghi. Campbell staying with him. Up and out too in the shape of Paulitz. Solid resistance sent by England. Here's Beckham. He will certainly provide some mobility. And that one is calmly collected by England goalkeeper David Seaman. Maldini, you can rest assured, will be patrolling the touchline. He won't be sitting down. He's getting very wound up. Delivio. Up by Nesta to Costa Curta, who didn't play in the last game against Georgia. Back after suspension along with Albertini tonight. This is Beckham. Now Gascoigne. Such an effective pass, releasing Ian Wright. Beckham supporting down the England right. Sheringham. Little cushion header that was beyond Ian Wright, but it was promising for England. Maldini. This is Gianfranco Zola. Great ball to Vieri. Control it. Such vision shown by the Chelsea man Zola. Spotting the run of Vieri. And that was certainly a worrying moment then for England. Speed off the mark of Vieri. And the creative instincts of Zola. Beckham losing out. Vieri. Zola again. Maldini supporting. Taking on Campbell. Terrific surge here by Maldini. Did really well to pull it back. Adams to snuff out the danger. Delivio. And harmlessly behind off Vieri. The goal kick to England. Well, here's that run from Maldini. He had the legs there on Campbell, who is certainly no slouch. Paolo Maldini winning tonight his 83rd cap. Only two players in Italian history have played for their country more. Dino Zoff and Facchetti. Free header for Baggio. Roberto Baggio, incidentally, is not in the squad. Chiesa was preferred. Chiesa among the substitutes for the Italians tonight. They also have Del Piero on the bench. David Batty to Gascoigne. Batty just sitting back in the anchor role. Here he is again now. Beckham. Batty went to ground then and has stayed down. Here's Vieri. Strong challenge by Southgate. Another man who had been a doubt all week because of a thigh problem, but the injury cleared up in time. Zola, lovely skill. Vieri ahead of him. Inzaghi to his left, still Zola. Well, he didn't have the finish to match. But the Mercurial Zola is bound to pose plenty of problems for England tonight. Now here's the moment I think we're going to see when Batty was clattered. No, we're not going to see it, but he was certainly caught as he received the ball from Gascoigne. On by Albertini. Straight to Tony Adams, who's actually only played a handful of matches for Arsenal this season. And has only featured in 2 of the last 12, I think it is, under Ben Hoddle for England. Such has been the extent of his injury problems. But no doubt he expected to be captain tonight. We all thought he would be. But Ben Hoddle decided instead on this man, Paul Ince, for his leadership qualities and drive from midfield. Graham Lasso. Now Gascoigne to take it on. This is Ince. Dino Baggio. Finding Delivio. Inzaghi's header. Good battling by David Batty. Now it's Beckham. Asking too much though of Ian Wright. All those dignitaries being favoured by the Italian director tonight. Familiar faces, but unfortunately not to me. Peruzzi very much the number 1 for the Italians these days. It's his 19th cap tonight. And he's been the first choice for a couple of years now, since taking over from Pagliuca, who was the number 1 for the World Cup finals. When, of course, Italy in '94 got to the final before losing on penalties to Brazil. Here's Zola. Had a very disappointing time in that tournament. He was sent off against Nigeria, I remember, just about 10 minutes after coming on. But his international career has really taken off since he's come to England to play for Chelsea. Problem for Paul Ince, but he'll be wanting to get straight back out there. And obviously he has collected a wound in the face there. Wild horses wouldn't prevent him from coming back on. It means so much to Paul Ince to return to Italy after those 2 years with Inter Milan. Clash of heads that caused that injury he's suffering from at the moment. And in fact he's going off the field to receive some stitches to that wound. Here's Maldini. Can the Italians take advantage of Ince's absence? And here's the incident again as he clashed with Albertini. Nothing malicious there, I don't think, from Albertini, in fairness to him. But no doubt he made contact with Paul Ince, England's captain. Here's Gascoigne. Brought down for an England free kick. Mario van der Ende from Holland is the referee tonight. A very experienced official too. Dino Baggio was the culprit then. Late tackle on Gascoigne. Indeed, Mario van der Ende is rated the 3rd leading referee in the world in terms of rankings. Batty to find Graham Lasso. He's been preferred to Philip Neville in the team. Maybe Andy Hinchcliffe too, who was in the reckoning. Lasso now. The Chelsea man linking with David Batty. Adams to Batty again. England anxious not to concede possession. Ben Hoddle was saying he would be able to tell from what he could see in the eyes of the players as they left the dressing rooms whether they were in the right frame of mind for this game. Hopefully he liked what he saw. Excellent work on the ball from Gascoigne. who is certainly fired up for this game tonight. David Batty, something of a minder really for Gascoigne in that England midfield. Vince, just had it confirmed, has a cut above the right eye. That's Maldini. But they're going to patch him up and get him out there as soon as they can. That's Ferrara on the right as we look with the glasses. And Casaraghi. Ferrara, who's injured. Casaraghi, who we certainly anticipated will be among the substitutes, if not in the starting 11, but neither. Casaraghi, who has been suffering from an injury himself, and was certainly looking a little leaden in training this week. Cannavaro in ahead of Ian Wright, who can expect some very tight marking from Cannavaro. Remember what a fine job he did on Alan Shearer. That's Inzaghi. And that will have done the confidence of David Seaman no harm. He was a bit worried about the floodlights tonight, David Seaman. He was anxious to get in a training session, but it didn't fit into England's schedule to be in the stadium at night. So he wasn't quite sure what to expect. Beckham, then Sheringham. This is Campbell. England retaining possession. Can they make something positive out of it? It's Cannavaro. Barely gave Shearer a sniff of a chance at Wembley back in February, Cannavaro. Amazingly, that was his debut for Italy. He gave such an assured and confident performance. Don't think he'll be allowing Ian Wright too much room this evening. That was Nesta, who played against England in Le Tournoi in place of Ferrara. Now Dino Baggio striding away. Inzaghi. Zola to his left. Other options open to him. And it was a late tackle. Maldini incensed. I think that is going to be a caution. It's in full flow then, Inzaghi. And Campbell was the man who sent him flying. All very painful for Pippo Inzaghi. Now Zola was lurking over the ball, but has drifted away. Here he is now. I thought he'd want to be involved somewhere. England clear their lines, but only as far as Cannavaro. Now it's Albertini. Such a good passer of the ball in the midfield for the Italians. Galivio. Lasso forcing him inside. Here's Albertini. Campbell showing his pace and anticipation at the back to curtail the run of Vieri. Good defending then by Campbell. He really has made outstanding progress over the last year or so. That's how to play from Delivio. So England thus far doing a good containing job. Maldini can barely contain himself, going through every kind of emotion down there on the sidelines. So much pressure on both these teams, but particularly on the Italians, who have to win, and here in front of their own demanding fans. Delivio with a good ball then to Dino Baggio. Adams with a clearance. Then Lasso. England playing themselves out of trouble. Here's David Batty. Gascoigne spreading the play well. Knows all about this ground, of course, from his time with Lazio, Paul Gascoigne. He had something of a love-hate relationship with the fans. He certainly enjoyed his football skills, but didn't quite know what to make of him in terms of some of his antics off the field. Here he is now. Ian Wright's hardly had a touch so far. Maldini to Albertini. The two Milan players combining. Here's a third with Costa Curta. Now Dino Baggio, Delivio. Vieri and Inzaghi waiting in the middle. Still Delivio. Right, left on his own upfield, surrounded by defenders, and it's Nesta who made illegal contact with him. Left his leg trailing then, Nesta. Ince back in the fray. Very welcome sight for England. It's so important to them in the midfield. Just shaking hands there sportingly with Albertini. Dino's off. World Cup era, of course, from '82, when the Italians last won the World Cup, and that for the third time. Southgate to Lasso. Now, can the Italians spring quickly forward here? Well, they couldn't do so, thanks to the endeavours of Southgate. Beckham. Now Costa Curta. Played so long for the Italians alongside Baresi, but now the great man has retired. He's become a key figure at the back, Costa Curta. Alongside certainly these two youngsters, Cannavaro and Nesta, who's on the ball now. Maldini. Then Zola. Vieri, great dummy. Inzaghi looking for the 1-2. Quick piece of thinking then from Vieri, who's beginning to settle now with Atletico Madrid, his new club, after his summer transfer from Juventus. Another foul on Ian Wright, who's taking a right old buffeting up there. But he'll be expecting that. Signs of battle already on the shirt there of Paul Ince. Right jumping with Cannavaro. A chance in for England, maybe for David Beckham. Stuart Pearce might have fancied one from here, had he been in the side. Gascoigne directing operations. But all eyes on the number 7, David Beckham. It's a chip towards Tony Adams. Just couldn't get a strike at goal with the second opportunity. Here's Gascoigne. The longer England keep a clean sheet, the more confident they will become. And the more impatient, they hope, the Italian fans will become. We're now halfway through the first half. Italy 0, England 0 in this deciding World Cup qualifier in Group 2. The Italians have to win. England only need a draw. A lot of responsibility on Ian Wright's shoulders, with Alan Shearer likely to be out for the rest of the season. Whether he'd make it to the World Cup finals remains to be seen. He has tremendous powers of recovery, Shearer. But in the meantime, it's a wonderful opportunity for Ian Wright. Maldini then snapping in with the tackle on David Beckham. A player who's really only just setting out on his international career. Zola was the target, but policing no by Southgate. Right. Cannavaro in the way. Now Sheringham. Lasso. Delivio has tracked back with him. This is Zola. Neither team so far has created a worthwhile chance. See what Delivio can do here. Played it for Inzaghi. He was offside. And by some distance too. So England got it right defensively again. Adams calling the shots back there, showing such awareness of what's happening around him. Here's Gascoigne. Delivio failing to keep the ball in play. And he's wondering, has he got it right tactically? Deciding to play with two up in Vieri and Inzaghi. Is the gamble going to pay off for him? Or will England survive? Here's Paul Ince. It certainly won't be for the want of trying. The Italians have an injury. And Beckham sportingly playing the ball out. Maldini is the man in trouble. And the referee clearly sufficiently impressed that it's a serious injury for Maldini to call for attention. He's not the kind of player to feign injury, Maldini. So some activity among the substitutes in case he can't continue. That's when he tackled Paul Ince. It clearly came off worse. So he is going to need some more attention. And that looks worrying for Paolo Maldini. Some urgent reorganising for the Italians, who haven't conceded a single goal in 5 World Cup qualifiers under Cesare Maldini. That's the incident again. Certainly fell awkwardly, Maldini. Free kick to England. Historically, nothing to choose between the two countries. In 19 internationals, both have 7 wins apiece, 5 draws. But most of England's successes did come in the early days. Remember, they haven't won here in Rome for 36 years. Gascoigne. Tripped by Zola. No argument there, surely. For all the anguished expression of Gianfranco Zola. The Dutch referee keeping a firm hand on things so far. Not letting matters get out of hand. Beckham with the free kick. It's a decent one too, dealt with by Nesta. Then Angelo Di Livio. Inzaghi. Zola. His first touch for once wasn't a good one. What an important interception then by David Batty. Terrific work by the Newcastle man. This is Beckham. Only right in the penalty box. It's a foul by Badger. Maldini again indignant. The Italian coach. But it was the foot up from Badger that's been penalised, and I think rightly so too there, by Mario van den Ende. Maldini about to return. So both captains have had to leave the field already tonight. Doesn't look over happy, does he? Gascoigne. Full then by Beckham, who had seen Teddy Sheringham. Good strike too from Ince. The first time either goalkeeper has really been called on to make a save. And Peruzzi beat away the effort from Ince. Here's Gascoigne. And that'll be a source of much encouragement to England. Sheringham. Now he's given away to Maldini. Adams tracking the run of Inzaghi. Cover was being impeded. Here's the strike for goal again by Ince. And fine reactions from Peruzzi to deny him. Beckham. That was Nesta. Maldini won't reach the header. It's a good spell this for England. Can they make it count now? Beckham's throw to right. This is David Batty. Beckham again. Batty with the cross swung over towards right. Clash with Baggio. The referee saw nothing wrong there. Here's Inzaghi, who turned back into it. Campbell. England, for the moment, have seized the initiative. Gascoigne. So nearly a clever little ball then. He'd seen so come streaking through the middle. And he was unlucky not to link up with him. It was Sheringham's header down for Paul Ince. Batty. Half an hour gone. A good half an hour for England. Graham Lasso. They'll be pleased with their night's work so far. Some more medicine dished out for poor old Ian Wright. Well, he's back on his feet, but decidedly gingerly. And the Italians are going to take off Maldini and bring on Benarivo. A very sad sight for the Italians to lose their captain. And Benarivo will simply slot in down that left side in his place. It's a real blow for Maldini's team. Lasso. A spat then between Delivio and Beckham. And I don't think this referee is going to stand for any nonsense. Delivio taking the throw. Here's Cannavaro. Far too long though for Inzaghi. And they've gone right off the ball at the moment, the Italians. Southgate. Lasso had shown for him. Here's Wright. Now then for Beckham. Sheringham to Ince. You can just sense the frustration growing around the stadium. And certainly Maldini won't like what he's seeing at the moment, with England dictating the pace of the game. Sol Campbell. Now it's Adams. That's a foul by Sheringham, who pleads his innocence. Now this is what we don't want to see. Some unsavoury scenes there among the fans. Meantime, Benarivo for the Italians over the head of Vieri, who began in sprightly fashion but hasn't had too much service since. Right. Beckham. Another challenge that has given England a problem. It's for Lasso this time. A lot of words have been said about some of the aggressive tackles, cynical tackles, as some England players have put it, of the Italians. And that one has cost Delivio a booking. Reckless challenge really on Graham Lasso. And that doesn't look too clever. So repairs needed for the Chelsea man. Maldini departing after just 32 minutes. of this crucial World Cup qualifier. And they will certainly miss his vast experience. 10 minutes of the first half remaining. Italy 0, England 0. And this is Benarivo. He can be a bit of a flyer down that left side, or indeed down the right side. He can operate on either flank, as he does for his club Parma. But they've hardly created a chance so far. David Seaman, I'm sure, would have expected to have been a lot more occupied than he has in the first half an hour, 35 minutes as it is now. Just haven't managed to get up ahead of steam so far, the Italians. Benarivo. Now Cannavaro. Here's Delivio. Southgate for England. Just the odd scary moment early on, but since then really very little to extend England's back three. Now they're looking dangerous coming forward with Lasso. And he's flipped it back too far. Here's Benarivo. Zola after it, but so too was Campbell. It's Nesta with a foot in ahead of Teddy Sheringham. England buoyant after their win over the Italians in the tournoi. France back in the summer, although the Italians said they weren't really in good shape for that game. But it was certainly a morale booster for England. Ince was captain on that occasion as well. And just look at this. Well, the Italian police are wading in. And there are going to be some sore heads in the morning. Let's hope it doesn't distract the players out there on the field. No, the chip was just too long for Tony Adams. Vieri had come back to mark him, putting his header across the face of goal, but well out of harm's way. Adams wins it in the air. This is Dino Baggio trying to hold off David Batty, who felt there was an elbow being used on Zola. Foul on Inzaghi by Campbell. Reinforcements are on their way. Let's hope they can quell the trouble before it gets too far out of hand. Gianfranco Zola. What can he conjure up now for the Italians? The last knockings of the first half. Here is Zola. We're into stoppage time. Still Seaman not required to make a save. Zola, who understandably has been heavily involved in the build-up to the game with his English connections, having made such an impact with Chelsea. And no question it has revived his international career too, the form that he's shown in the Premier League. Right, with a neat touch to Sheringham. He's got a second crack at it now, but then Delivio making the interception. Down goes Dino Baggio. Gascoigne claiming he played the ball, but he'll be shown the yellow card. Well, he appeared to play the ball. That's certainly what he's pleading there. And Dino Baggio did go to ground somewhat theatrically. But the referee was sufficiently convinced to get the free kick to Italy and to show Gascoigne the yellow card. Benarivo. Now Zola. Three waiting in the middle now. If Zola can provide the cross. The arm seemed to be up from Vieri, and he didn't make contact anyway. Played off to it, a little untidily. In goes Zola, making no headway. Delivio. Maldini's kicking every ball out there. Albertini. Benarivo sliding it on for Vieri, and Zaghi, though, getting nowhere. Beckham. We've had now 2 minutes of stoppage time. And there have been injuries, remember, in this first half. Maldini's included, and Paul Ince. Batty. That's David Beckham. This is Fabio Cannavaro. Zola. Delivio. Vieri using his body strength to hold off Gareth Southgate. And that was handled then by Ince. Furious look on his face. Totally immersed in this game, Ince. He was saying beforehand what an honour it is to captain his country tonight on such a prestigious occasion. Seaman wanting 3 in the wall. He has his wish. Vieri. Plenty of force, but no accuracy. Vieri, remember, in ahead of Casuragi. Also Del Piero. Chiesa. Maybe we'll see one or other of those in the second half. Or maybe indeed for the second 45 minutes. Maldini will be far from pleased from Italy's showing in the first half. They really haven't got their act together. Gascoigne. Just overhitting it in search of right, but the idea was certainly there. It's such a quick eye, Paul Gascoigne. They have lost a yard of pace down the years, but the football brain is in fine working order. Costa Curta. Still, they haven't had the imagination to break England down, Italy. Ince to Gascoigne. Now it's Lasso. Teddy Sheringham. This is Gascoigne. Good football by England. Laid off by Sheringham to Beckham. The two Manchester United men combining. Here's Sheringham now. And Beckham! It was agonisingly close from David Beckham. It's a wonderful link-up play then by England. Beckham to Sheringham, and their combination unhinged the Italians. And that's how near it was as Peruzzi went flying across his goal. And they deserve better than England. They really carved the Italian defence open. A real fillip for them at the end of the first 45 minutes to have come so near to scoring, as referee Mario van der Ende from Holland brings the first half to a close. And what a good first half it's been for England. They've kept a clean sheet. Remember, a draw will suffice to take them through to the World Cup finals, and they're more than holding their own against the Italians here in the Olympic Stadium in Rome. At half-time in this final group qualifying match, it's Italy 0, England 0. And with every optimism that they can progress. Now attacking the goal to our right as the Dutch referee Mario van der Ende gets us underway. David Batty wide to Beckham. This is Sol Campbell. What a fine job those three English central defenders have done so far. Campbell, Adams and Southgate. Now Albertini, who hasn't been the force in midfield that the Italians would have expected. With his little niggle there on Ian Wright. He's had to plough for the most part a lone furrow up front, but he's done so with his usual vigour and determination and of course enthusiasm. Player who really wears his heart on his sleeve, Ian Wright. Beckham with the cross curled in. Only partially cleared by Benarivo. Enrico Chiesa wearing 18, one for Inzaghi. Inzaghi, who was able to make little impression in the first half. Chiesa, who has been a regular scorer in club football, certainly over the past couple of years. Averaging just under a goal every couple of games in Serie A. Very dangerous player. Called up into the latest squad in preference to Roberto Baggio. Costa Curta swinging it wide to Benarivo. This is Adams. Now Beckham in that right-sided wing-back role for England. They've only conceded one goal en route to this game in the World Cup qualifiers, the Italians, and they certainly enter this match tonight as favourites. But England have denied them with a really solid display of resistance, and they've had their moments of danger too going forward. Certainly Glenn Hoddle will be delighted with the way that they have restricted the Italians and certainly subdued Zola. He's after the ball now, but was simply brushed aside by the determination there of Tony Adams. Benarivo with a throw to Zola. Glenn Hoddle has warned the England players to keep their concentration on throw-ins when Zola's lurking. He's so adept at finding space. And he done so again. That'll be a free kick to England. Warmly applauded by Campbell and co. Ince with his patched up head after that clash in the first half when he was injured. Stitches in the wound. It was Dino Baggio jumping into Adams. Now Glenn Hoddle was saying beforehand he was apparently in two minds about including Tony Adams, but he won't be under any illusions now that he made the right decision. He's got through some sterling work at the back, Tony Adams. Such a talismanic figure. Certainly a man to have in the trenches with you. Zola's pass. Now Benarivo to Albertini. The way off was a good one. That's Dino Baggio. Well, at least from the Italians' point of view, it was a sight of goal. Enterprising approach play. No wet product. Good touch there from Chiesa. And he had room here. He was always leading backwards, Dino Baggio. Deft piece of skill from Chiesa to set him up. Gate. Delivio. What has certainly been underlined tonight is that England, they had one before, certainly no longer have an inferiority complex. They have more than matched the Italians this evening. Albertini. As Gascoigne at full stretch. Or rather, David Batty. Good work by him too. Sheringham. The first time pass in search of Ian Wright. Costa Curta to tidy up. Albertini then with a foot in. Likewise, Campbell for England. It's very hard to shake off Sol Campbell. Such a well-balanced defender. And his stock has certainly been rising for some time, since he and one or two others were caught out for Zola's goal. That beat England at Wembley back in February. How fortunes have changed since then, with the Italians struggling And England seemingly going from strength to strength, as they've emphasised this evening. Delivio. England still proving very hard to penetrate. Let's see what Delivio can do. No real thought going into that one. Here's Dino Baggio. Then Delivio. Patty was closing him down. Sheringham. Good pressing by England. And they have earned the throw too. Maldini being told to keep his opinions to himself by the FIFA official. Fat chance. Beckham launching it long. This is Gascoigne with Baggio. Oh, he's beaten there, of course, in terms of playing at the very highest level. Paul Gascoigne. No wonder they're looking pretty glum. Ferrara and Casaraghi up there in the stand. Nearly spectators tonight. Beckham arriving in the middle. Now it's Ian Wright. Just wouldn't fall for him. Chiesa. Campbell's won it back off him. Wright's gone far post. Campbell can't deliver though the right ball. Here's Chiesa. Lost it up for Vieri, who's being impeded by Southgate. Now Chiesa. Southgate striding back to cover. And then very effectively with a tackle to Southgate. Showing no effects from that injury he's been suffering from all week. Benarivo has curled him too far. Lasso. And it's the English fans around the stadium, over 7,000 of them here tonight, making themselves heard, as Ken Hodley's trying to do down there amidst the bedlam. I'm sure he'll be able to make himself understood anyway. But the English fans have quietened the Italians. That takes some doing. No wonder the Italian fans are delirious at the moment, because it's looking very good for England. They haven't scored a goal, but they don't look like conceding one. Zola will have other ideas. Vieri ahead of him. Zola's path was blocked though by a posse of England defenders, quickly getting themselves back behind the ball to make it more and more difficult for the Italians. This is Delivio now. Vieri with the challenge. Chiesa. Still Enrico Chiesa. Seaman with the save. And his reflexes were in perfect working order. It's a sign of a good goalkeeper. He really hasn't had too much to do, Seaman, but when called upon, he was most certainly up to the task. England's hero from Euro 96, on top of his game again. Chiesa driving it across the goal, and Seaman, they got his angles right. Well, the FIFA official has had enough of it, and he's telling Maldini to sit down. He's been like a cat on hot bricks in front of that bench. And the pressure on him is enormous. The man, remember, who took over from Arrigo Sacchi at the back end of last year. Paul Ince, faced by Albertini. Then Beckham. Gascoigne is really relishing the occasion. It's a fine pass. Here's Ince. The ricochet off Albertini. And Benarivo helping out. Southgate. Not by Vieri. Southgate was there again. This is Benarivo. Now can England break? Sheringham. This is Beckham. Tony Adams, a rare excursion upfield for him. He was never going to go too far. England will want him on guard duty at the back. Launching tackle by Nesta on Teddy Sheringham. Sheringham, who's become such an important player for England with his experience. And he can certainly thrive on this international stage. Now, a fresh problem about to be posed for England with the arrival of Alessandro Del Piero. Beckham forcing his way past Benaribo, who recovered well, but I think was holding on Beckham. Indeed, it's a yellow card for Benaribo and a free kick for England. Caught out there, Benaribo. Rightly shown card. Thing with Beckham. First appeared on the not in the last year. Now, Ola, big sacrifice. On to him. So the aerial talent of Gianluca Zola displayed by the Italians as they search for that elusive first goal. But meantime, some defending to do. That was Gascoigne claiming the corner. Concurs with that assessment. Beckham with the kick. Free kick to Italy. Well, they would have had so many high hopes of Zola tonight. He was the man you felt could unlock that England defence, but it wasn't to be. So now Del Piero, another gifted player with magical ability, has his opportunity as the home crowd rise to the Azzurri, trying to lift them. They really haven't functioned well as a unit at all so far tonight. Here's Chiesa. Benaribo. Now Batty. It's a foul by Albertine. He knew it too. Didn't even have to look towards the referee. Now he's been shown the yellow card as well. And their frustration is beginning to boil over the Italians. And every yellow card is fresh encouragement to England. Almost at the halfway stage in the second half. And England are looking very handily placed indeed at the moment. A long way to go yet. That was Nesta. Sheringham's pass to Beckham. He certainly wouldn't rule out an England goal. Ian Wright on record as saying before the match, I was born for this day. It's the kind of situation that he thrives on. You can just see him popping up with a goal, can't you? Arsenal's record goal scorer now, of course, Ian Wright. Tandem tonight with Sheringham, who has worked so hard. He's done his best to support Ian Wright, but there's plenty of other work to be done in other areas. Sheringham's the man for that, with his awareness. Foul on Del Piero. Scored within the first, 30 seconds against Manchester United for Juventus at the recent Champions League game. But he's, well, as we've seen tonight, not first choice for his country. Here is Del Piero now. A poor free kick too. It's his 15th cap, 6 goals in that time. Benaribo, Italy's first half replacement for Maldini, who was injured. Now it's Chiesa. Way by Adams. Del Piero. Adams with the block. Here's David Beckham. England have got to stay vigilant now at the back against the guile and craft of Del Piero and Vieri, Chiesa. A lot of goal-scoring potential out there for the Italians now. Adams not standing on ceremony, whacking it away, even though Seaman might have collected. Del Piero upended. The cap's drawing. Well, it was certainly a reckless tackle by Paul Gascoigne on Del Piero, who trots off into the middle now, hoping to create some fresh havoc for England. Chiesa with the kick. Nesta has been sent forward at Costa Curta, but it spins wide for a corner. So England with some defending to do here as Chiesa goes across. Keep an eye out too for the number 8, Dino Baggio, who's always a threat on these corner kicks. That's well clear though. Albertini. England for the moment being pinned back in their own half. Benarivo. Good closing down by Wright, who was in, shrugged aside. Benarivo already booked, remember. So living a little dangerously then. Lombardo, not even on the bench tonight. We had thought he might be in the starting lineup after some encouraging displays for Crystal Palace and indeed for the Italians too. He has been starting recent matches. But Maldini overlooking him this evening. Now, is this more attention for Paul Ince? I would think for that head injury. England won't want him off the field too long. But clearly he has to be patched up again. Handball then by Beckham. Twenty minutes to go. England for the moment down to 10 men, but not being extended. Well, he looks battle weary. He's certainly battle hardened. What will he look like now? He won't care. Grant Lasso. No real support for him, but he managed to get the cross in, albeit straight to Peruzzi. And he won't be hard to spot out there now. Southgate. A little bit of pushing by him, which means a free kick to Italy. Ince is back on, roared on by the England fans, noisily making their presence felt in the stadium. And I think for the moment behaving themselves. There were some ugly scenes in the first half when they clashed with police. That took a deflection, but into the welcoming arms of David Seaman, who was then surely obstructed by Vieri as he attempted to clear. Well, I certainly didn't expect to see an Italian team so bereft of decent ideas this evening. Normally so high on technique and vision, but really they have troubled England very little. That was Del Piero. Now it's Benarivo. Beckham with Nesta. Free kick to England. still holding the Italians. No goals in the Olympic Stadium in Rome. It stays this way. England are through to the finals. Gascoigne with the kick. Wanting Lasso to show himself down that left flank. In goes Albertini. And it's a free kick to Italy. Lasso having to scamper back now. Here's Chiesa. Vieri setting off through the middle. Campbell is there. Del Piero. Was it a dive? Was it a trick? It's a yellow card for Del Piero for diving. Well, depending which point of view you take there, that's either an excellent decision by the referee, and I think it was, or very hard on the Italians and on Del Piero. Adam stood his ground with his foot, and Del Piero dived over it. So caution for him. And what a let off for England, but rightly so. The palpitations then among those England defenders. None more so than Tony Adams. Costa Curta. Adams coolly away to Campbell. They've been a very effective combination at the back along with Gareth Southgate. Sheringham. Just touching his ankle there. Adams to Campbell. The Tottenham man who's grown in stature with every passing international, Sol Campbell. There's a moment again when Maldini and 81,000 or 75,000 Italians were screaming for a penalty. The referee was having none of it. Paul Ince with the free kick. Straight to Benarivo. That was Del Piero, now Albertini. The foot was high from David Batty. Delivio. Going for goal. Routine save though for Seaman. Most of his work tonight has been fairly routine, with one or two crucial stops by the Arsenal man. We're into the last quarter now. It's Chiesa. Tony Adams clearing for the corner. Under no real pressure, but he couldn't be sure of what was going on around him. The Italians breaking suddenly. Chiesa onside. Only Vieri in the middle, and there was no danger of the ball reaching him. Well, that was Vieri, and he couldn't keep his header down. Vieri, who has scored just the one international goal after making such an impact with Juventus last season. Adams. That was Delivio. Now Del Piero. Trying to deceive Campbell. Succeeds in doing so. But he has such quick powers of recovery, Campbell. That was a dreadful tackle on him there. Well, that had to be a booking for Delivio, and he'll be sent off because he has already been cautioned. Delivio dismissed. And the Italians, already in deep trouble, have more now with the departure of Angelo Delivio. It was an awful tackle on Campbell, who won the ball back fairly from Alessandro Del Piero. He went flying in there, Delivio, without any thought at all for Campbell's livelihood. I think he'll be okay. He's a redoubtable defender, Sol Campbell. But Italy now really up against it. Bolivio, who was sent off playing for Juventus against Feyenoord in the Champions League, so he didn't feature against Manchester United. And he does have this volatile streak for all his industry and good work. England with their tails up now, playing the 10 men of Italy. Beckham with the throw to Ian Wright. And he's forced the corner, surely then off Cannavaro. The referee's assistant appear to be in two minds. Wright's expression will tell you, but he has got the decision. Showed all his experience then, Wright. To winning England not only the corner but a bit of breathing space too. Not too many venturing forward for them now, but that's Beckham swinging it over. Now it's Paul Ince driving it through. Wright's offside. Campbell steers it in, but the flag was up some time before that. Defenders stepping up. I think we can safely say that Ian Wright was in an offside position. Vieri held it up well. Albertini. Chiesa. Then Chiesa with the cross. Campbell clearing for the corner. Del Piero will take it. As the volume of noise rises around the stadium. Benarivo. Offside. Vieri. And certainly at this stage you wouldn't really say that England are hanging on. They're coping more than adequately. There, Vieri, offside. Good decision by the referee's assistant. Welcome back shore by David Seaman. We'll remember only too well that night in Rotterdam, 4 years ago, when England lost to Holland in that vital qualifying group for the World Cup and missed out on their chance of going through to the finals. But tonight, well, for the moment anyway, they're in the seat here. And only a few minutes away from reaching the finals in France. 10 minutes to go. Italy 0, England 0. And this is Cannavaro. Del Piero. Baggio. Then Chiesa. That's Vieri. Down for Del Piero. And England had plenty of cover. Well, that was better then from the Italians. At least they managed to conjure up a threatening moment. Chiesa with the corner. Vieri near post. Dino Baggio behind him. Push surely by Del Piero. Rightly penalised for all his indignation. It was Campbell's mistake, which went unpunished, much to his relief. The England theme tune ringing out now around the stadium. Remember, the Italians in 15 World Cup games in Rome have won all of them in the past. But they are still struggling tonight against England on this occasion. Been a very patchy display from them. Nesta. And the feeling will be enhanced that they peaked at Wembley. Cannavaro. Now Del Piero. The Italian public have criticised Maldini for picking what they felt were negative teams for the away games in Georgia and Poland, matches they failed to win, and they may well now pay the price for that. They seem to be in control of the group after beating England at Wembley, but that hasn't turned out to be the case. Maldini imploring his team now to show more urgency. Cannavaro. But England most certainly are not making it easy for them in any shape or form. Chiesa. Del Piero. England defending in numbers now. That was Adams to play it away. Sheringham. Here's the counter-attack with David Beckham. He's given a mature performance tonight. His place in the team has been by no means a certainty. But Glenn Hoddle has maintained his faith in him. Lasso with Costa Curta. Well, we only had a back view really of Costa Curta. Lasso very unhappy about the Italians' part in all that. Oh, it certainly appeared there that he hit him in the face. Maldini wouldn't be able to see from that far away. Gascoigne with the free kick. Campbell has gone forward. Missiles on the pitch. Sheringham's in there too, and Ian Wright. I think something's been thrown. Costa Curta still having words perhaps about the incident a few moments ago with Graham Lasso. Costa Curta, who of course has taken over the captain's armband since Maldini's exit. Just keep it calm, keep it cool now. That'll be the message from Glenn Hoddle. Gascoigne whipping into the near post. No problem for Peruzzi. As England continue their efforts to eke out what will be such a valuable draw. Paul Ince. A brave and committed display in the midfield from him. 5 minutes to go. This is Lasso. Gascoigne. Given away too cheaply. Baggio. Now they might be stretched here, England. Chiesa making tracks down that right side. Southgate there with him. And he lunged in. Well, it was a sinister tackle from Southgate. A booking for him. And I think Chiesa too, yes, for overreacting. Wasn't the best of tackles, was it, from Southgate? All the same, Chiesa did react very aggressively. Here's Chiesa now with the free kick. Nesta has advanced to have his support in there. Not deep enough. That was Beckham's header. Chiesa again. Under pressure from Gascoigne. Didn't really need to dive in then. He didn't think he did. Chiesa to try once more. Ince for the flying header away. Brave one too, bearing in mind his head wound. Cannavaro. Benarivo sidestepping the challenge. Again, desperate defending by England. Albertini. Southgate's underneath it. Can England keep their nerve here, right at the last? Chiesa. Again, the service just isn't forthcoming for the Italians. 3 minutes to go. Chiesa. It's another free kick. Nicky Butt waiting to come on now. Can't do so for a moment. That was Campbell to head it out. Benarivo. The flag stays down. Seaman holding on well. Really safe pair of hands there. David Seaman. Cannavaro. England still can't introduce Butt. It slips away from Vieri. And behind for the goal kick. Respite for England. Inching their way towards a famous result. As Butt prepares to come on. Gascoigne, who's had a fine match for England, having to control the midfield. He's passed it around economically but smoothly, really gave it away, and he has certainly played his part tonight. And underline that he still has much to offer at international level. On comes young Nicky Butt, another of the Manchester United contingent. Cannavaro. Off goes Butt. That was Ince. And he's found Ian Wright. Adams. Good header from Wright. Linking up with Ince. Then it's Sheringham. Wright again. Benarivo to win it back for the Italians. This is Del Piero. England will be content for the ball to stay in the Italians' half. Bit of a crunching tackle then, but it's just a throw. We're into the last 30 minutes now, and then it's just a question of how much time the Dutch referee will be adding on. Anxious last moments here for England. Adams has conceded the free kick. Albertini will take this now. Nesta. We're into stoppage time. That's Sheringham. Everybody back now defending for England. All hands to the pump. Nesta. Too long for Dino Baggio. There's nobody upfield for England. Cannavaro. Albertini. Vieri looking for something, but there's nothing on. As Seaman bowls it away. And that surely was handled by Nesta. Indeed it was. Well, he's toiled away so often without too much support up there, Ian Wright. And he's done a magnificent job for England, but then they all have out there. And they are not finding too much to smile about. Understandably so. It's been a very disappointing performance from Italy. A team with such a fine pedigree at this level. Sheringham. Lasso would not have appreciated that pass. Yeah, the shake of the head says it all. Away by Peruzzi. Ince with Vieri. Now it's Del Piero. He can't wriggle through. And the free kick goes England's way. As the match is now, surely. Lasso for Sheringham. England's work rate, their teamwork has been quite outstanding tonight. And it's looking more and more now as if they are going to have their reward. Tony Adams, who has certainly dispelled any doubts about him being included this evening. after his lack of match practice in recent times. He's been a real rock at the back. Southgate covering. And the Italians, it would seem, have lost heart now. Heads are dropping all over the field from the Azzurri. Sheringham, sweeping pass. But now they'll have to retreat. Off goes Benarivo. Chiesa. Well played, Tony Adams. Beckham. 2 against 2 here. Ian Wright making the diagonal run for him, hoping to open up the space. Beckham! What a finale that would have been for England. Really would have capped their night. 3 minutes of injury time play. Albertini for Italy. Del Piero. Now Chiesa taking on Campbell. This is Benarivo. Vieri. There's a half-hit shot there, no more than that. Wright chasing now with Cannavaro. And he's through. Ian Wright. He can settle it now. Oh, the post. Sheringham. Oh, what a moment that would have been for Ian Wright. And he would have deserved it too, for all the endeavour that he's shown up front. But now, Del Piero. It's got wide. Oh, what drama here in the Olympic Stadium. Vieri's header, after Ian Wright had struck the post at the other end. He's so nearly won it here for Italy. Del Piero's cross, terrific header by Vieri. But Seaman watching it sail wide. And not that far wide. Maldini thought his team had done it then. Gaffs all around the stadium. 5 minutes now of injury time played. And that's it. It's elation for England. They are through to the World Cup finals in France next year, and it doesn't matter now to Ian Wright that he's missed that goal. The goal that would have sealed it. Sealed victory as it is. The draw is enough. It means England top Group 2 ahead of the Italians, who had to win the match to overtake them, and so nearly did there, right at the death through Christian Vieri. Gascoigne celebrating along with all the other England players as Maldini reflects on defeat. Italy, remember, hadn't failed to win any of their previous 15 World Cup games at the capital. And Glenn Hoddle and his jubilant team has taken enormous credit for their display in front of this huge, impassioned crowd in the Olympic Stadium. Although all the noise now is coming from the England supporters. Ince and Gascoigne, 2 heroes out there, but then they all were. Such a turnaround since that defeat by Italy at Wembley in February. Cesare Maldini's team seemed set then for the automatic qualifying place. But England put that setback behind them. They put it down as part of their learning curve under Hoddle and knuckled down to the task of whittling away that Italian advantage. It all came down to the wire, all down to this final match in Rome, and England have survived.